So, your organization decides to roll out a major AI initiative. You've got the tech, you've got the budget, and then you hit a wall. And it's not a technical wall, it's a human one. Resistance. Honestly, it's one of the biggest reasons these ambitious, expensive projects just completely fall flat. Okay, let's dive into why this happens, and more importantly, how to think about it in a totally new way.
And just so we're all on the same page, everything we're about to cover comes directly from the first 2 chapters of this fantastic report by Virtualization Options LLC. They've really nailed the core of this challenge. Now get this. This idea right here completely flips the script. We need to forget that old stereotype of the change hater, the person who just digs their heels in. The report suggests that the people pushing back are often the ones who care the most. They're your most engaged employees. Their resistance isn't about blocking progress, it's actually a sign that they're deeply invested. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to reframe resistance as a totally normal human response. Then we'll unpack what that pushback actually looks like. After that, we'll get to the real heart of it, the paradox of where the strongest resistance comes from. And finally, we'll talk about how to turn all that friction into a powerful partnership. All right, first things first. We have to understand that this pushback is fundamentally human. When you see resistance pop up, it's not a sign that you failed. No, it's a sign that people are paying close attention and they have real, legitimate concerns about a huge change to their work lives. At its core, resistance to AI is just resistance to change, but on steroids. It's a completely normal reaction to massive uncertainty. I mean, think about it. It's not just about learning some new software. People are asking themselves these huge questions. Will my skills even matter anymore? Is my professional judgment about to be replaced by an algorithm? Is my job safe? These are deeply personal, really practical concerns. So how does this resistance actually show up day to day? Well, it's not just one thing. It can be super obvious or incredibly subtle. And if you're a leader, you've got to be able to spot the different forms it takes. Okay, so the pushback really falls into 2 big buckets, passive and active. Passive resistance is that quiet stuff that can kill a project by 1,000 cuts. It's people kind of forgetting to go to the training or just silently going back to their old spreadsheets because the new AI tool feels weird. On the other hand, you've got active resistance. This is way more out in the open, people openly questioning the project, challenging the data the AI is using, and you bet they're pointing out every single little glitch to anyone who will listen. And this slide, wow, it just lays out the massive disconnect perfectly. The organization, the leadership, they're all worried about ROI, market share, and data security. But for the employee on the ground, the stakes are way more personal. We're talking about their job security, their career path, their professional identity, and their sense of control. When leaders only talk about the company's goals, they're completely missing what's actually driving the fear and resistance from their teams. Okay, now for the part that might really surprise you. You'd probably assume that resistance comes from the people who are, a little afraid of technology. But the research points to a much more unexpected and frankly, way more important source of that pushback. So let me ask you this. In your organization, if you were launching some new, hyped-up AI tool, who would you expect to be the biggest skeptics? Just think about it for a second. The answer is probably not who you think it is. That's right. It's often your IT department, your tech experts. And let's be super clear. This isn't because they hate technology. It's the exact opposite. Their resistance comes from deep professional knowledge and, the scars of past experience. They've seen countless waves of overhyped tech come and go. This is the why behind it all. IT teams are often held accountable for making things work, but they had no authority in choosing the tool. They remember all the other big projects that failed. They know about the messy technical debt hiding under the surface. They can see right through vendor hype, and they're the ones who are genuinely worried about security holes and skills gaps that excited executives might just gloss over. Their skepticism isn't a bug, it's a feature of their experience. So, if your most knowledgeable people are the ones pushing back, what do? Well, you don't just try to steamroll them, you have to change your entire approach. You have to stop seeing them as an obstacle and start seeing them as the essential partner they really are. And look, their resistance isn't random. It actually follows some really predictable patterns. First, they're going to challenge if it's even technically possible. Then they'll raise a ton of red flags about security and compliance. After that, they'll argue about not having enough people or budget, and they will absolutely call out the vendor's unrealistic claims. Once you see these patterns, you can get ahead of them. And here is exactly how you do it. You meet those patterns with a better strategy. Bring IT and his partners from day one, not as an afterthought.
Be brutally honest about the resources they're going to need. Take their security concerns seriously. They're probably right. And invest in training them so they feel confident and ready. It all boils down to respect and real collaboration.
And hey, this isn't just a nice theory. The report talks about a financial services company that did exactly this. They were facing massive resistance from their IT team. But by giving the IT director a real seat at the table, giving them the right resources, and sharing the accountability, they turned the whole thing around. The same team that was resisting the project became its biggest champions. That's what a true partnership looks like.
So I want to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. What if we just stopped trying to manage or overcome resistance? What if we started actually listening to it? What if that friction, that pushback, what if it's really a gift? The most honest, engaged, and valuable feedback you could ever get to make your AI project a massive success.